have seen that there was no body differentiation. The body was completely thallus-like structure. But when we came to bryophytes, what we had seen, they were amphibian plants, means they need water as well as land. And if I talk about body differentiation, so there was little bit of body differentiation on bryophytes. Now we are going to do the next division, that is a pteridophyta. So what is the meaning of pteridophyta? So pteron means feather and phyta means plant. So if you see the structure of pteridophytes, as we can take the example of ornamental plant ferns, or here you can see the example of Seraginella, Salvinia. So they have a feather-like structure, means their leaves are look like a feathers. So that's why this division is called a pteridophytes, means feather-like plants. Now, students, if I talk about the pteridophytes, so they are first successful terrestrial plant on land. So why they are called a successful terrestrial plant on land? Because they have vascular, these are also called the vascular plants because they have a vascular tissues are present. So what are these vascular tissues? Now, as we know, what is the function of vascular tissues? They help in conduction of water, minerals and nutrients to the plant. So these vascular tissues will be xylem and phloem. So xylem helps in the conduction of water and minerals from the soil to throughout the plant, whereas phloem help in the conduction of nutrients to the plant. Now because of that, so as earlier if you recall bryophytes, so their vascular tissues were absent. But in pteridophyta, vascular tissues are present. Now, if I talk about the body differentiation, so here body differentiation exists. Means, as if you recall about bryophytes, so there we have seen in few plants there was little bit of body differentiation. But if I talk about the pteridophytes, you can see here in the structure there are leaves are present, stems are present, whereas roots are also present. Like in bryophytes, there was rhizoids are present that worked as a roots, like they were helping in the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. But if I talk about the pteridophytes, there we can see distinct stem, leaves and roots. So if I talk about body differentiation, so body will be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So what we have seen, what are the more advancement than bryophytes in pteridophytes? They have vascular tissues present. Other than this, their body differentiation exists, means they have, we can see a well differentiated root, stem and leaves. So that's why they are called the first successful terrestrial plant on land. Other than this, if I talk about the origin of pteridophytes, so they were found on late Paleozoic era. Now, this group includes 400 genera and 10,500 species. It means it's a large group and it includes 400 genera and 10,500 species. Other than this, the plant consists of pinnate leaves. So what is the meaning of pinnate? Pinnate means again it is a feather-like appearance. So they have a feather-like appearance. Now, they are also known as vascular cryptogams. So why they are called the vascular cryptogams? So what we know, like plant kingdom is sub-classified into two groups, cryptogams and phanerogams. So what cryptogams include algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. So what we have seen like algae comes in halophytes. So there was no vascular tissues were present, whereas in if I talk about bryophytes, even their vascular tissues were absent. But here vascular tissues are present. So that's why they are called the vascular cryptogams. They do not produce flower, fruits and seeds. Why? They are called the cryptogams because of that. Means cryptogams means they have a concealed reproductive system. Means the reproductive system we cannot see. They are concealed. So that's why they have hidden reproductive system. So they do not produce flower, fruits and seeds. Now, other than this, pteridophytes are terrestrial, small, either annual or perennial. So students, what is the meaning of annual plants? So annual plants, the plants who complete its life cycle in a year, means from germination to seeds to from germination of plant to the production of seed, it all includes only 1 year. So there are many plants who are annual. Other than this, some are perennial, means it lives for more than 2 years. Some maybe live for 10 years, 100 years. So it includes both kind of plants, annual as well as perennial. Annual means the plant will complete its life cycle in a year only, whereas perennial plant will take more than 2 years. Now, they grow under moist and shady places. Means that pteridophytes, they do not need more light. Because of that, they grow on moist and shady places. Now, if I talk about what are the habitats they shows, so they may be aquatic. So students, here I have taken the example of Salvinia. So there are many plants who are aquatic, means they need aquatic habitat. So examples can be Azolla and Marsilea. Now, other than this, there are many plants who are called the xerophytic plants. So example can be Equisetum. Here example can be Equisetum, and Azolla and Marsilea will come in the aquatic plants. So if I talk about xerophytic, so what is the meaning of xerophytic plants? So plants that adapted to survive with little water. So these kind of plants come in the category of xerophytic plants. So here we can take the example of Equisetum. You can see the picture of Equisetum. This plant do not need much water. They need only little water. So the plant that are adapted to adapted to get very little water. Other than this, there are many plants who are called the epiphytic. So here I have taken the example of Lycopodium. You can see the epiphytic plants will be Lycopodium. So what are the epiphytic plants? So students, if I talk about epiphytic plants, so they grow everywhere, but they can be found on branches of the tree, trunks of the tree, and sometimes they are also found on the leaves of the trees. So because of that, we can say that if I talk about pteridophytes plants, so they can be aquatic, means there are many plants who adapted to live in aquatic habitat. There are many plants who are xerophytic in pteridophytes, so they need very little water, whereas epiphytic plants, maybe these kind of plants can grow everywhere, like they can be grow on trunk of trees, stem of trees, branches of trees, whereas leaves on trees. So these are the few characteristics of pteridophytes. That's why they are called the first successful terrestrial plants on land. Why? Because vascular tissues are present, body is well differentiated into stem, root and leaves. Other than this, these plants are also called, they get the pinnate leaves, so they have a feather-like appearance, and they are also known as vascular cryptogams, means they are cryptogams. So students, if I talk about the nutrition in pteridophytes, so they are autotrophic plants. Why? Because they have a chlorophyll pigment present. So because of that, they can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Now, pteridophytes shows heteromorphic alternation of generation. Means they have two phases in their life. So here, this thing we will discuss in the life cycle of pteridophytes. But as what we should know that pteridophyte shows heteromorphic alternation of generation. As if you recall, earlier we have discussed about bryophytes, so there also the plant body is gametophyte and sporophytic. Here also it is of that kind only. Now here main plant body is sporophyte. So students, if you recall in bryophytes what we have discussed, the main plant body was gametophyte and it was diploid phase. Sorry, it was haploid phase. Now, here the main plant body, as if you see that example of Selaginella, Equisetum and Salvinia. So here the plant body, main plant body will be sporophyte. So sporophyte will be diploid. What we can say that it will be diploid means it will be 2n in number. Dominant means it is a long-lived body of the plant. So main plant body is sporophyte. So because of that, this phase will be dominant. And autotrophic, as they can make their own food. Independent means it is a main plant body, so it will be able to produce spores, and it can be germinate, and it can make its own food. As if you recall sporophyte phase in bryophytes, there it was a dependent phase on female gametophyte. Students, now sporophytes mostly produced by the spores. As we all know that in pteridophytes, which one is the main plant body? That will be sporophyte. So how the spores will be present? So if you see this, the whole plant body is sporophyte. Here sporangium will be present something at this place, and this place will be completely closed by the sporophylls. So here in sporangium there will be spores. So here what we can say, the sporophyte is mainly produced by the spores. So where the spores will be present? It will be present in the sporangium, and these sporangiums will be enclosed by these sporophylls, that is called those are all the leaves. So these leaves forms the appendages like structure, that is called the sporophylls, where sporangium will be present, and sporangium spores will be present. So what we can say, sporophytes mostly produced by the spores. Now next, the primary root is short-lived and is soon replaced by the adventitious roots. So here students, this thing which we will discuss in the life cycle of pteridophytes, but what we can say, the primary root is short-lived. Means what happens, the spores forms the gametophytes, then gametophytes releases the male and female gametes, then these male and female gametes will be fused and they will form the main plant body spores. Then again that male female gametophyte will carry the sporophytes, and this sporophyte will change to the main plant body. So that we will discuss in next part. Now if you talk about leaves, so leaves in pteridophytes, so they can be scaly. Example, equisetum. So if you see the structure of leaves in equisetum, what you can see, the leaves you can see that these are the scaly leaves. Here we can also take the example of cycas. So there are many pteridophytes which have a scaly leaves. Now there are also some plants in pteridophytes, they have simple and sessile leaves. So what are these simple and sessile leaves? Here I have taken the example of Lycopodium. So what are these simple and sessile leaves? So these kind of leaves have a single leaf. Suppose that this is a kind of simple leaf. So here at the axillary part of the plant will be some axillary buds will be present. So this kind of leaves are called the simple leaves. Right here single blade is present, and axil of the bud have these kind of small axillary leaves are present. So this is called the simple leaf. Mostly these kind of leaves are found in mango trees. Now if I talk the next, there are many plants, they can be a large and pinnately compound leaves. So here the example is ferns. So students, as I think everybody has seen the plant of ferns, as it is an ornamental plant. So what kind kind of leaves they have? They have composed and pinnately and large number of leaves are present. Means that here, if I take the example of ferns, so the leaves will be a large leaf, something like this, something like this. So why are they called the compound leaves? Because if I talk about the compound leaves, so what happens there? Number of leaflets are present. As if you take the example of rose, so what kind of leaves you can see that it is like this, something like this. So here lot of leaflets are present. So this kind of leaf is called the compound leaves. The leaves which carry more leaflets, and simple leaves will be a single leaf, and at the axil of the plant there will be a axil leaves will be present. But in compound leaves, the leaves will be carry lot of other leaflets. So if I take the example of ferns, so what happens there? What we have seen in pteridophytes, leaves can be scaly, leaves can be simple and sessile. Other than this, there are many plants which have large and compound and pinnate leaves. Pinnate means they have a feather-like appearance. They will be large and they will be compound, means lot of leaflets will be present in leaf. Like as you can see the example of rose. So what we see there, the number of leaflets are present something like this, something like this. So these are, so what we can say, their leaves can be scaly, simple and sessile, and large, pinnately and compound. This is about the leaves. Now the next thing is very important, that secondary growth is not seen in pteridophytes. So what is the meaning of this secondary growth? So students, as if I talk about the secondary growth, so which tissue is responsible for the secondary growth? That is a cambium tissue. So what happens? The cambium actively dividing, they have actively dividing cells between xylem and phloem tissue, and because of that it is responsible for the secondary growth. So if I talk about cambium, so cambium is a tissue layer that we can say that that is responsible for the secondary growth in plants. So that's why as cambium is absent, what we can say, that cambium is absent here. Because of that, we cannot see the secondary growth in pteridophytes. So what are these structures? What we can see, that sporophytes mostly produced by the spores. Other than this, primary root is short-lived. Your primary root will be short-lived and is soon replaced by the adventitious root. Now if I talk about leaves, so leaves can be scaly, simple and sessile as in Lycopodium, and large, pinnately and compound in ferns. Whereas if I talk about the secondary growth, so this will be absent in pteridophytes because there will be no cambium tissue